And welcome back to Picks on Politics. Advocates for gun reform have had a mixed bag of emotions these last couple weeks. Many were disappointed with the Supreme Court's decision to strike down New York's concealed carry law. But there was some progress in Washington when President Biden signed the first major federal gun legislation in nearly 3 decades. The Bipartisan Safer Community Act expands background checks, invests in mental health programs, and cracks down on gun trafficking, all big issues in our area. So this morning we are joined by Senior Director for Everytown for Gun Safety, Michael Sean Spence. Welcome, and thank you for joining us and having this important discussion about this new legislation.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So tell me about the role Everytown played in getting this legislation passed.
You know, over the last few weeks, months, even years, it's been a very difficult time for our nation with gun violence on the rise in cities nationwide. And we asked our legislators to not look away from that gun violence, which has become a true epidemic across this nation. We held rallies on Capitol Hill. We went to our senators' hometowns and we rallied in their offices. And we made sure that we supported those that were our gun sense champions, like Senator Gillibrand, as well as other senators and representatives across the nation, to ensure that this package came to fruition. It's truly historic. Make no doubt about it. This is a huge moment for the gun violence prevention movement and for our nation. Our first federal gun safety law in 26 years. And it provides a lot of the resources you mentioned at the top, as well as $250 million to community-based violence intervention programs. Programs like Life Camp, community capacity development, Not Another Child, groups that are implementing strategies like street outreach, hospital-based violence intervention, evidence-informed strategies that we know work, will now get the necessary resources to sustain their life-saving work, as well as to scale it to more communities in need. But as you mentioned, it also makes the first-time federal law for gun trafficking.
And that's actually the next topic that I want to speak about. I want to focus a little bit on gun trafficking. That's been a big issue, especially in New York State. While New York has strong gun laws, many of the illegal guns here actually come in from out of state. So how does this legislation specifically address that?
Great question. The Bipartisan Safer Communities Act will help address the flood of firearms from states with lax gun laws into states like New York, which you just described, states with good gun laws, strong gun laws. Until now, our nation's patchwork of state laws have made it very difficult to hold traffickers who are bringing guns in from out of state accountable. With this new act, we now can prosecute upstream before these firearms get into our communities. We can crack down on the trafficking rings that are fueling that iron pipeline. These are firearms that are coming from states along the I-95 corridor. And it now allows law enforcement to go directly after the trafficking ring leaders for selling and buying these trafficked guns, many of which are ending up on crime scenes in New York City and other cities across the state.
And Michael Sean, we mentioned this is the first time in decades that we've seen gun legislation pass at the federal level. So are you happy with the success, and what does your organization hope to now accomplish next?
No, we're not happy with what we've accomplished. We're very grateful for the progress. We know that this is a huge step forward, but there's much more work to do. We're still relying on states to pass many of the common sense measures that we know our nation needs. Red flag laws still need to be expanded across the nation. Fortunately, with the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, we now have resources to support the states that have, like New York State, to make sure it's implemented properly, making sure folks are aware of their ability to access this resource, but there's still more work to do to ensure that everyone across the nation has access to it. And that's just a piece of the work that's left to do.
Michael Sean Spence, Senior Director of Everytown, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.